G'day, Brett Hetherington from Hetherington Associates. Today I thought I'd talk to you about a strategy that we sometimes get approached by clients where they want to turn their principal place of residence into an investment property. However, they've reduced quite a lot of debt on their principal place of residence. So when we turn it into an investment property, it's not actually negatively geared. This was their principal place of residence, which we're going to turn into an investment property, but it's not negatively geared because there's not a large amount of debt on it. And of course, typically what actually happens, the client has now moved into their new principal place of residence. And once again, typically in that, they've got a fair bit of debt on their new principal place of residence, but the problem is, that's bad debt. Good debt is tax deductible debt, bad debt is not tax deductible debt. So what type of strategy can I come up with to help the client in this situation and to possibly restructure this so the old principal place of residence, the new investment property, becomes more tax effective and frees up some cash flow in that we can actually reduce the bad debt on the new principal place of residence. Well, sitting down with the client, typically you might understand that the property was owned by husband and wife, and typically once again the new principal place of residence is owned by the husband and wife as well. So in its basic sense of what we're actually trying to achieve with this strategy, we're actually going to sell the old principal place of residence, the new investment property. We're going to sell from one partner a half share over to the other partner. So ultimately what will happen in our strategy is predominantly now the old principal place of residence is now actually owned typically 99% of that by one party. Now what you've done is effectively you approach the bank and you borrow the money, and that's to buy out your wife or your husband or your partner depending on the situation. And what you've done there is you've actually increased your tax deductible debt. With that extra cash flow from what one partner has borrowed in this old principal place of residence, now uses that cash flow to reduce the debt here on the new principal place of residence. So effectively what we're doing is we're reducing the bad debt, we're increasing the bad debt here. So the person that should buy, typically in that, the half share of the new investment property, which was your old principal place of residence, should be the person who's actually in the higher tax bracket to maximise it from a tax point of view. And really, I think the only downfall with this particular strategy is because one partner is going to buy a half share off the other partner, this whole strategy is going to cost us a little bit of stamp duty. But that's essentially in that where you would actually come to us, we would sit down, we'd analyse the tax benefits of actually adopting this strategy as against the stamp duty. Typically in that it might actually take a few years to pay off. Always understand that a client wants to actually hold this investment for a long-term strategy. If they were only holding it for a short term as an investment property and sell it off, you probably wouldn't really consider this strategy at all. Your old principal place of residence turns into an investment property. What you do is you get one partner to buy a half share off the other. By borrowing a half share from the bank, increases your tax deductible debt. You use that cash flow to reduce your bad debt on your new principal place of residence. So it's a bit of a win-win situation. It's a restructure that makes it tax effective. Only thing is it's going to cost you a bit of stamp duty. Got any more questions? Why don't you give us a call? Thanks for your time.